Surprise.
What?
What?
It's
What
a
is up,
crew.
everybody? Welcome back to Rad Up All Night. We're going to talk a little Scream tonight. And who we're going to talk about Scream with then? The OGs of Horror Talk Radio, the boys at RadPit. What's up, guys?
I'm doing great. How are you doing tonight, Garrett? Look, man,
Doing
you caught me
great.
before I
here
took
we
my
go.
gummies. So we're good.
You're in the gummy game now?
Well, it's those Ollie. They're perfectly legal.
Those the ones
I'll
Steve
look
was
him
sending
up.
you?
No,
Still eating
no,
those?
these have no THC or hemp or.
You can set a
Whatever.
timer though. When he takes those, you got about 10 or 15 minutes, and he's gonna be like acting crazier than hell. That's been good though. I'd go ahead and take him right now. This will be a great
I'm
show.
good.
He takes him, and all of a sudden he's like, "Can I help you with something?"
No, I just start looking like I'm getting ready to cry. Is what happens.
It's like that
Oh my god!
fear and loathing movie. He's just seeing stuff like floating around his room.
It's
I
gonna
wanted
be
to have
fun.
you guys on because it's like I feel like we haven't done much lately. This is probably the first time we've been on
Oh, no.
together all year.
Yeah, we do like the physical media stuff. It seems like, and then everybody's always busy doing the other stuff. So it's good to, get back together every once in a while and talk about some current events and everything. And yeah, the Scream movies, man. Scream 7. Oh, Lord help us.
Well,
You ready to talk about movies and stew? Because that's what this is
oh,
gonna be
that's
about.
right. Yeah, like I mean, I want to say what's up to some people in the chat first, really quick. It's Thomas in the house. What's going on? Why does this keep blocking? Why? What did you put it on? Now this covers UB down there.
Oh, well, you'll have to, let's see. We'll change it back to,
My
there
poor
you go.
guy. All right,
Should
let's
move
see
it
here.
up then.
Oh, there we go. Joey says,
Weird.
no way. If anyone can make a good Scream movie, Evan Williamson, after all he created, people to quit their griping about Matthew Lillard returning. It's probably for flashback scenes. We'll talk about that, I guess. What up, Gus? Blu-ray Attic in the house. What's up? Gora Tiger. What up, man?
Where did they find the other guy at though? What was his name? Josh Foley or whatever? I have no idea. What's he been up to? Off
I don't
Broadway
know.
plays or something? Or
When you said that name first, I thought it was the guy from Kids in the Hall. That's another Foley. It's like Scott Foley or something.
Mick
Yeah,
Foley.
They really did quite a bit to bring him back. Like it's got to be for some sort of flashback sequence. They're not going to have him be. in
they
there.
signed up for that Tell Us People search thing, try to find his ass, get him back in
Yeah,
there.
I mean, is it? Did you look at the cast list though? Like both you guys, it looks
That's
like
what I was gonna like.
1995. back.
like- When I think of Scream 7 right now, like it's gone through a lot of incarnations, right? Like the first one, it was like, oh, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that. Then they fired Barrera, then Ortega left, and it's like, okay, they're scrambling. Then they get a new people backing it. Then Sydney's coming back, and then it becomes like the who's who of like the Scream franchise. Like everything's changed, right? So, bringing it back to the original movie, I'm gonna say when it comes to horror franchises, Scream is one that I've seen every one of these movies in theater. So I will say that there's not a lot of big horror franchises I can say that about. Because we kind of lived during the first one, and it's always kind of a fun event. I'm not shitting on that per se. And even when I do see them, I'm always kind of like, yeah, it was fine. But it's so. I'm really personally like I'm so done with the meta of like horror movies at this point. Like that's not clever to me. It's not funny to me. It's kind of just stupid at this point to me. And I just feel like they play the same game over and over again. And when's the last time really we've had an like a reveal that's been anything good at these movies?
I got to imagine that Kevin Williamson's directing this movie, and it's got the same writers as the past two Scream movies. Like you're going to be in for a really bad time if you don't like meta shit in this, because like that's all those guys do.
Well, it seems anymore that these movies are kind of all over the place with who's in them as well, because Sydney's back in this one.
Her daughter's in it too. She's got a daughter that's in it.
She's got a daughter now that's maybe she's in high school. Maybe that's part of the story. Who knows? But like the Ortega and Spaghetti
Barrera.
Sisters or whatever, they're not in it anymore.
Juventud Guerrero.
Yeah.
They got rid of her.
Which sucks because like as at the first when you first saw them and you kind of like I remember seeing Scream 5 and you were kind of like, oh, okay, new characters, blah blah. But then I'm kind of like, oh, I see what they're doing here. They're using the legacy characters to kind of move this new group of people to take this franchise somewhere else. So after the last one, I kind of really like enjoyed Barrera a lot. Like I'm like, okay, like I'm cool with her. Like this is okay. I'm happy with her. She kind of really won me over on the last one. And then with her being gone and like them going back to the Sydney stuff, I'm kind of like, this thing is all over the place now. Like let's just try to get this done now.
This is your least favorite thing, Garrett. I know this from talking about The Exorcist. Like you hate it when somebody takes over a franchise and then doesn't finish like the franchise.
You gotta have a motivational speech.
Yeah. Like yeah, I don't like the continuity thing. It's bullshit. And like this is like a whole new story now. So then it's like, well, what's the explanation for these girls gonna be? Remember there was a point in time where they were like, oh, they remember at one point it was like they're thinking about making it like a dream or something. Like
they need to make the whole thing a dream, yeah.
Like, they're gonna make it a
nightmare.
dream, dude. That's what they're gonna do. Like the last two are a dream. Like I don't know what they're gonna do with it, but it's so convoluted now that I'm like, I'm not excited. And I'm actually pretty shocked on how many people are still excited over these announcements and over this franchise. I'm like, I'll see it, but I really, if there was never another Scream movie, like I'm perfectly okay. Like
what do you think though? Like I almost think that it's a couple of different audiences. Like the newer audiences, the younger people are maybe the ones that are more excited, whereas everyone that was around during the original trilogy, which in my opinion it should have just been a trilogy, and they were pushing it there, honestly. Like Creed saved Scream 3, let's be honest. Without Creed,
that's true,
what would that movie have aside from Wayne Foley or whatever the hell? Like,
what if Creed wasn't in that? That'd be
but man, as far as the unveils go, like they're all pretty lame. I don't know what they could do at this point. I know all the hardcore fans want Stu to be like the mastermind for the past 30 years. He's been hiding out. They
like
never
Jigsaw.
mentioned, they never mentioned they couldn't find his body or anything. Oh.
But here's the thing: a lot of people are not happy with the Stu thing, right? Stu, like I think number one when it comes to Stu Macher, like. I thought he should have been the last one that we saw and ended this damn thing. It's all over the place now. Him being back, I think it was a stupid decision for them to announce it. I still think that was a real dumb move because, obviously it's got people running wild. I highly doubt at this point he's the final boss if they've announced him because it only would make more sense. It would only make the most sense. Now, would I want him to be the final boss, the big reveal, the one behind all this for 30 years? To me, I actually wouldn't mind it because it would at least make sense. Like, what's going to make sense at this point? Like, that's what I don't understand. Like,
nothing. And I feel like that
sense to like wrap this all together, or is it just going to be random? Is it going to be like Sydney's mother?
It's going to be
one behind it from the beginning. Like
it's not going to be anything good. It's not going to be anything. We're sitting here thinking about like all these possibilities about like how you could wrap it up. It'll be some bullshit because they're not going to wrap it up with this. Like they're going to like do another 3 or 4 more after this. I'm sure it'll be some random like 2 people that they introduce in this movie. Like it'll be Sydney's daughter or some bullshit like that. If that's going to be a character, I almost feel like that's probably who it'll be. But I mean, the way that I wish they would wrap it up and just end it would be is, like I said a million times, if 1 or 2 of the main like legacy characters just went nuts and that was who the killer was. Like they could just say the simplest thing in the world, like they've been through all this stuff this many years and it finally drove them crazy and like they just decided like to go on a killing spree and that'd be it.
There's got to be
wrap
a
it up,
swerve, man. There has to be a swerve. It can't be that just a random person. And when I'm looking at the cast, every day they're announcing someone new. Ethan Embry, that other guy Roman, this other guy from Talk Soup or whatever the hell this dude's from or whatever. All these people there. I'm looking at this lineup and I'm like, it's almost like Scream's like the AEW of fucking horror. It's like they're just announcing names like to try to get people.
They
to watch
should do that gimmick. They should have like
Edward Furlong
Ethan Embry is Scream 7.
Scream, yeah. It's like the link. It's
Every
just like these Hayden Pelletier is Scream 7. It's like everybody's Scream 7. Like I know I'm like sitting there and I'm like, what do they just try to throw everybody in here? It makes no sense. Like they're just trying to do like an AEW where it's like, well, if we get names in here, people will turn it on.
Yeah, I
and
think
watch
that's
it.
exactly what they're doing. They're like appealing to all the '90s kids. That because when you look at that, I almost said roster, but when you look at that,
It's roster.
yeah, when you look at their cast list, it's like it's all like people that were fairly big in like '90s movies, like Ethan Embry's being a prime example in these cult kind of movies like that, and like they're just trying to appeal to us. That's what they're doing. And then they know that they've got like the young kids that are coming in, like they're going to watch whatever the shit they put out, like with just the title screen. But they're trying
to Patrick Dempsey back.
They'll bring anybody they can think of like that back. That's from
they wanted to bring Patrick Dempsey back, but I think they said he was filming Thanksgiving 2 or something. So then they like brought another guy back with the same name or something. Remember? And like he's like married to Sydney, and everybody thought it was Dempsey, but it's like a new character. It's a new person. I don't know if he's supposed to play the same character or not. A new actor. But
vanilla asshole.
It's to me like, again, do I hope Scream 7 is a good movie? Of course. Why would I want it to be shitty? Do I think it's going to be a good movie? No, probably not. I just don't know what they do, and I'm like, if they're bringing all these people back for like is he going to be a ghost, Matthew Lillard, kind of like Billy was? Like,
I swear to you, man, like I could see them doing that. Like I could see them doing some sort of like Harold Ramis type of shit with him, and just having him like come in like that or something.
Well, think about the people they have, right? They have Skeet, they have Lillard, and they have that other dude Roman, which are all killers in the past. And this is like revolving around Sydney again. Is it going to be like a part of me is like, is she gonna like have these dreams of like all these guys coming back, and it's like be a big fake thing? Like, is there gonna be something where all these people from her past are gonna like either come back for real or come back like in like these dream sequences or whatever? Like, there's got to be some connection that all these people that are the dead killers are now coming back into the fold. Like, there's got to be a story here.
I hope so. I doubt it.
I hope Aunt Jackie comes back.
I wonder, like,
yeah, I swear to God, I do too. That'd be so cute.
On the Connors off season, I'm sure she'll be available.
They're not going to be bringing back Hayden Panettiere or Emma Roberts, so I guarantee that.
Why is that? What are they doing?
Well, Hayden, that last movie that she was in, man, she's messed up. I don't think she can act anymore. And as far as like Emma Roberts, I don't think she would probably do it. But the rest of them, I could see.
Maybe
they haven't announced Dewey back yet, so it doesn't. I haven't seen his name added yet.
Isn't he dead?
Which would be shocking.
Well, that don't matter though. Like technically, fucking Stu's dead. So
dream sequences, boys, they love them.
Yeah,
the whole movie's just dreams. It's like, what was it, Love Boat or whatever? Dynasty.
It was, you're talking about St. Elsewhere, one of those shows like that where everything was like a dream at the end of it. Yeah.
I think like people
Super Mario 2.
I think people just like the idea of a new Scream movie coming out. Hey, it's Scream. Let's go check it out.
Yeah.
It's not the actual content, because let's be honest, man. Even like all the way back to Scream 4, that was not a good movie. There was really no need for anything post Scream 3. I would have been fine if that was it with the franchise. I mean, I'm shocked that they didn't try to do like a full-fledged remake of the series by now. Maybe that's coming next. Or we could get Scream 8.
Was the show kind of like... I never saw the show, so was that supposed to be some kind of like remake of this? Because the mask, remember it had like that like weird mask or whatever?
Yeah, it looked like the mask that could be violated.
What the fuck? Okay.
Like Blowface or whatever his name was?
Yeah, Blowface.
Blowface. They should bedazzle it and just be done with it.
I never saw it, so I can't say anything about the show.
I just saw the mask. I didn't watch. They did like a bunch of MTV around that time. Didn't they do a Teen Wolf
and stuff?
Yeah.
I
know what you did last summer show. Was that MTV show as well?
Which one?
I know what you did last
Didn't they try
summer.
to do that like for one season or something that flopped? Like somebody did a show. I can't remember if it was MTV, but yeah, there was an I Know What You Did Last Summer show.
They did that Babadook TV show. Wasn't that MTV?
Babadook.
Hereditary, the TV show.
They did not, did they?
Yeah.
They really did a Babadook show?
No.
I was gonna say, what the hell? I don't watch TV shows, so I would never know. There's so many that have come out that I'm like, I had no idea this existed.
Don't you think though that like this movie and this franchise at this point is kind of to me like everything that's wrong with mainstream horror films. Like it just represents everything that they're doing wrong. They've got the name and that's all they care about. They've got the legacy characters. They're going to have 1,000 callbacks in that movie to those characters and like something else that's happened in some of the other movies. And then they're going to introduce new, like fresh faced teens to have a new group that nobody's going to give a shit about, that they're going to like, kill off. There'll be one or two of them left at the end, but like they have to do this again now. They did it in 5 and 6. Like they kind of like had those characters and then all that other stuff with, the Barrera and Ortega and all that. It's like, so now they got to start over. It's like, I'm so tired of that same plot device, that same system of how they do these movies. It's the same every time. And every time people fall for it, they're like, it's going to be good this time. They got Stu coming back. It's like, no,
I think it's not like, I don't find them. I don't know. I'm like, I remember trying to think what I thought of when I remember seeing the last one. I don't think I hate it because Barrera really won me over as a good lead. But I think it's one of those things where it's like every time it gets to the end, it's like your brain's like, oh my God, what's it going to be? And it's like the most disappointing thing. Like it's like back in the day where like, you're watching the Royal Rumble and all of a sudden it's like, who could it be? And it starts out and it's like freaking, it was like Carlos Colon or something. You're like,
that's exactly what it's like. Yeah.
Like that's the big
Brothers.
Reveal. And you're like, what?
It's like this year's Royal Rumble. Like the men's Royal Rumble is like the last one's Logan Paul. And you're like, who gives a shit? The guy's already there like all the time.
Yeah. Like it's like, that's the problem I have is I haven't thought the reveals have been good since 2. Like, so, after that, like even 3, like with like, oh, you got a brother kind of thing. I always thought that was a little bit lame. And ever since then, I felt like every reveal was just very subpar to end a movie. And I just don't know what you do now to wrap this all up. If this is supposedly the last one of this storyline or whatever it may be for a while, I just don't know how you wrap it up to make it make sense. Unless they bring back like her mother, who has been basically one of the reasons that this whole thing started. Like, I don't know what you do at this point. And if Lillard's the one, okay, cool, but you just spoiled your own ending. And that's where I think they probably went wrong.
I think if it's a huge plot thing, they wouldn't have announced Lillard was coming.
That's what I'm thinking too. Yeah. Yeah.
What about if they were to go back to, okay, her mother cheated on her father. They were both characters in the first movie, but that was part of the story. What if her father has something to do with it?
Where is her dad now? I forget. Did he die?
Where was he then? He was like off
I don't
in
think
Mexico or
I
something.
don't think they ever killed him off or anything, did they?
He just kept coming in and out and getting taken hostage.
But
and
he's
shit. Like that.
Yeah,
was
he's
his whole
very
gimmick.
like not a memorable character though, so that would be a stretch. But I mean, it's not a snoop. It's the big difference, like with movies like Halloween, Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street, and Scream. Scream is like not supernatural really at all. Like there's nothing. No. It's just pretty much a serial killer, murder, mystery sort of deal. So they're limited really on what they could do. They're very limited on what they could do and make it interesting. In fact, I don't know what sort of unveil they could do that would make people go, "Oh my God, that was great."
Well, it felt like though.
I don't know, but it doesn't make sense.
That's what I was saying. Like, I mean, like they need to do something outside of the box. Like they need to think of something to where, because it felt like in the early days of Scream, like they really were trying to write something that would fool people and something that would be shocking. When you saw it at the end, and then like you said, when it gets to Scream 3, then it's just like, yeah, I'm your brother, and it's kind of like. The fuck? Like, who cares? Like, but like the first two that I was genuinely kind of like startled that Jackie was the killer in part 2, like, or one of the killers, because she was just a side character, and the way they set that up was like really, really good. But since then, there's been no attempt to do that. Like, it's just people that you already know. Like they're already like main characters, and you're just supposed to guess like which main character. It's dull. Like they've done it, at least 4 times now. Like so, the same type of thing.
I think they're more interested in just making a movie that's going to make money. I mean, I'm sure
Mhm.
at the end of the day, especially if you look at the last couple of movies that unveils, those were just like, man, this is so stupid.
It was like
Especially
3 last time. It was like 3
the
of them.
last one, I was like,
Right.
no, I can't.
They
I
had the
can't do
big like
this.
Scream memorabilia shrine and everything, and
Yeah.
yeah.
So it's just interesting. Now I want to get to the chat, and I know you guys, we've been not avoiding the chat, but we haven't got to you guys much. I'm just curious on you guys' thoughts. I know, to be honest, like even just doing this video, I knew for a fact I feel like I'm definitely in the minority. Like it feels like most people are really excited for the movie. Now, again, like I said before, I hope it's great. I hope I go and say, wow, they really blew me away with that. But I don't have high hopes for it, nor is Scream a franchise at this point that I feel super stoked about. I'll watch it because I've seen all the rest, but again, I'm very curious to see how they're going to try to wrap this thing up if this is the last one. So if you guys have been posting on here, repost, because I'm going to kind of go down towards the bottom, and I apologize if I missed any of your questions or anything like that, but let us know what you think, how you think they're going to wrap this up, what you think Lillard's role is going to be, who you think could be a cool killer to kind of end this thing, because again, that's why I want you guys here. We got about 100 people in here, so let me know what is going on. Vanderhoff said that Scream is a fun / series I don't ever want to die. Hello, Sydney. You don't want it to die. You keep Scream every year. I couldn't do it. No way. I think they'll continue to make Scream sequels as long as they make money. I think 6 main ones. Yeah, I mean, they probably will, but just like Halloween, it's like at some point you've got to give it a rest or it's going to get stale real quick, I think. And I mean, I'm assuming Halloween's on hiatus for a little bit.
I think that last one probably
At
killed
least
it for a
another
while.
year or two. They'll bring Jamie Lee back again.
Let me ask you a question though. Of any of these main franchises, are you excited about any of them? Like if they made another movie?
I would be excited for another Friday the 13th, I think. Now, as a sequel, or I don't know if I would like to see a remake. I don't even. I actually wouldn't mind doing like if it came out as Jason 11 or 12 or whatever they want to do. Like I wouldn't mind continuing it because with a character like Jason, it's kind of like there's really no rules as far as that killer, as far as what he can and can't do, if he's dead or not dead, who's the actor underneath the costume. Like there's not really a lot of rules you have to follow with Jason, except maybe
or
just put him in a.
There doesn't have to be much of a plot.
Yeah, like, and that's why I think it kind of works with him because there's no real story you've got to follow. Where in Halloween, it was like, okay, we got to get Jamie Lee involved, okay, because he's chasing after her. I think with Jason, it's kind of a free for all on what he can do because he could be considered supernatural as well at this point, and there's such an evolution of that character that I would love to see it continue rather than start over. But I know it's been so far removed from that I'm sure people in Hollywood like that makes zero sense if we did it that way.
I think that might be the only movie where they wouldn't bring back like a female lead and have them try to like kill Jason. Like I think if they did another like Nightmare on Elm Street movie and they try to redo it, they'd bring back like Heather Langenkamp or something like that. And they'd have her chase fucking Freddy around again, or any of those other movies like Halloween with Jamie Lee Curtis, any of them. But I don't think they would do that with Friday the 13th because nobody really knows any of those ladies. So it's like they would probably just start completely over, which would be a good thing in my mind.
Yeah, because there was no one person attached to that character,
yeah.
Unless you have Corey Feldman chasing him around. I mean, that's it, really. I mean,
that'd be listen, if they did that would make a fortune, man. Imagine people that would just go to see
Corey
it,
Feldman, yeah,
just to see the cringe of Corey Feldman. Like,
and there's even a scene in it with Corey, playing guitar or whatever.
That would be
dressed up like Michael Jackson, chasing Jason around.
That would be so cool.
I'd see that movie.
I would love to see another Friday. That's the one I would love to see. I just don't want it to start over again. I think been there, done that. I don't want to see that. I mean, unless it's something like a prequel or something like that, I wouldn't mind that. Something different. But no one's going to go to a movie to watch Pamela Voorhees kill people. It's just not going to happen. If you don't get Jason in a Friday prequel, I mean, I don't think it's going to make.
Of all those franchises, I think a Friday the 13th sequel is the hardest one to screw up.
Oh yeah, of course. And I think that's why I like it so much, is because it was so consistent in its formula. You didn't have any like final girl like that followed him around from movie to movie per se. He kind of could evolve. There was different actors that played him. They, evolved the mask and stuff a bit and everyone, but they kept a very similar formula no matter what setting he was in. And I think that's kind of why I enjoy it, is because they found what worked and they didn't really sway from that except for at part 9. And I kind of think that's why I enjoy it. Oh God, is there something in the chat I haven't gone down there?
Freddy's going to chase around somebody with a cane.
I see you guys smirking over there.
Next movie. You know what though, man? Like, of all the franchises, one that needs a new one just to get the taste of the old one out of your mouth is Nightmare on Elm Street.
You said what?
One of those franchises that needs a sequel to get the taste of the old one out of your mouth, the remake, is Nightmare on Elm Street. I think that one deserves like a kick-ass final.
But what
movie.
do you do? I don't see I could ever take it serious without England. I just don't.
That's the problem with that. That of any of these movies we're talking about would be the hardest one to remake, because like you would have to have somebody in there besides Robert Englund, and I don't
necessarily.
know.
I think you could do like a stunt double for all of the physical stuff. Do the close-up shots as Englund, and Englund does the voice. And hurry, man, because he's what? How old is he? Like 80 years old?
Yeah, he's like, I don't know how he would do any of that though, man. It would be like what's her name in The Exorcist? Believer movie where she can barely walk up the steps.
The makeup hides a lot. The makeup hides a lot. I think they could do it.
This actually is a good point that Vanderhoff made. Thanksgiving felt like I would rather have something new and original that's very similar in tone to like a Scream slasher, like a Thanksgiving. I was very excited about this Heart Eyes movie, thinking that we were going to get another different take on like a slasher where you got, all right, we got Thanksgiving over here. Now we got this Valentine's one, Heart Eyes, right? So it's like this new era of like these slashers that are taking place on like different holidays. I was kind of excited. I'm still going to see it, but I've heard I may be disappointed in Heart Eyes. Like the trailer made it look one way, and I feel like it's actually not that way. It's almost like a romantic comedy with slasher elements. I don't know enough about it, but that doesn't excite me really, but I still want to give it a chance. I would rather see more of those type original settings than rehashing of a lot of these franchises over and over and over again, personally. But again, I thought Thanksgiving was a pretty good modern Scream-like slasher movie.
Yeah, it did pretty well too, and I'm curious how Hard Eyes will do coming up around Valentine's Day. It came out this weekend, so a lot of youngsters will probably want to go and check it out and everything, and hopefully it does well. I mean, I would love to see just different stuff come out rather than the same old, same old.
Mm-hmm. And I think L.A. Jewel makes a huge point. It really does feel like at the end of these Scream movies, it's like a Scooby-Doo episode where it's like, it was this guy, I do feel the same way.
And it's like every time one of those movies ends, you have to have like 20 minutes of exposition explaining why they did it. And like, it's like just like a Scooby-Doo episode, It's like you have to learn all about the backstory of who they are and why they did what they did. It's like, okay.
Yeah, 100%. Chad and Mindy are coming back. Dude, I really don't even know who that is.
I don't either.
I think the one of the kids that was in 7 and 6, the guys that was part of that kids group is coming back, which I don't know how he fits in and how they're going to explain the disappearance of the girl. I don't know. But I do think he's back. That guy, who I think is in Hard Eyes, actually, that same kid. He's like
Jason Jordan.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. That's actually perfect.
Nobody in the chat has any idea what the hell we're talking about.
It's
like, what the hell are these guys laughing?
That's 100% accurate, though.
That's a huge deep cut, though.
It's Kurt Angle's son.
Yeah.
Oh my god, so funny.
I can't
I'm a
remember that
fan of the
guy's name.
slasher franchises too. Like I really wish that we could
Same.
see more of those, even if it's a rip off of the '90s, Scream era slashers. I'm all for that. I
But
mean,
just make them original. Like just make some new killers, make some,
yeah.
you can do the teen groups and all that stuff. Sure. for
Somebody
sure.
mentioned the Collector before. Yeah, you could do another Collector movie. Do another Laid to Rest movie, man. I would love to see that.
I would too. I mean, Nick Principe would do that in 2 seconds. I thought that was a really, really ahead of its time franchise for sure. That character had a lot of steam behind it for a while, where I thought he was going to be the next big thing, and then it kind of just died. And speaking of died, the director did too, and I think
Yeah.
that wasn't a big help for that movie because it really was getting, I'm not going to say Terrifier level, but I mean, it was up there. Like, I mean, I went to conventions and, Chrome Skull was there signing autographs. And I mean, it was getting talked about as being, pretty brutal of a movie. And I thought it was a cool looking character. It was different. And I just think with all these different things that happened, it kind of just faded out. I would love to see something like that come back. I think now is actually a perfect time for it with the success of something like a Terrifier.
Well, I don't know if you saw this, but like the kind of the push, the publicity for this new Scream film was, and I see this all the time now, and I just laugh every time I see it. It's like, this is the most violent one. Like, you've never seen anything like this. This is like the most violent one of the whole series, the most gory one. It's like every new movie comes out now, they say that because of the Terrifier friend. That's what they're banking on, is to get like that group of people that goes to see those movies to come into these new movies. And I just, something about that trend, like I like gore as much as the next person, but just to be doing it just because like that one franchise is really popular and that's it.
Yeah.
Like they don't have anything to add to it, but other than that, just, I don't know. Seems fake. Like Scream was never really about that to me. Like Scream was never about gore or like the Terrifier movies or anything like that. But
Yeah.
To me,
It
like the
wasn't.
Scream movies only work in the '90s. Like if you try to do them nowadays, like everybody hates these fucking young kids nowadays. Like they're all little assholes. They want to be all inclusive and everything. You've got to have every damn denomination and fucking God, get over
That's true.
yourselves, Hollywood. Bunch of
But you know
pussies.
what's actually funny is that this is actually kind of funny because it's so meta. AI is behind everything. Imagine if they like try to go that route where it's like it was all like a computer like was the mastermind, like some AI bullshit. No, so maybe that's why all these new characters are back. They're gonna AI them, and they're gonna be all meta about it.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you're gonna de-age them or something like
They'll
that.
have AI. We should probably just get AI to write us a script for the new Scream movie. And I
it
guarantee
wouldn't matter.
it would be better than what they actually come up with.
That's what you're gonna do. That's the next show. Is we gonna make an AI
Yeah.
Scream
Yeah.
script for sure. I was thinking that too. What if these people are coming back because they literally are gonna try to do New Nightmare? And like that's why Lillard's here. Like it's gonna be talking to the actor himself, and then Ghostface is gonna kind of like come in the real world, and that's the only way they can explain having these people back.
They could
Like
do
that's
that.
actually not a. I thought about that the other day. That's actually not a bad deal, but at the same time, it's kind of like we've seen that, and it's
Yeah,
so.
because I think they ripped off New Nightmare for the first Scream movie as well.
Well, at least it was Craven. I mean,
But it does make sense that like that's an easy way to get all these characters back without having to explain that they're not
Right.
dead or they're AI or they're dreams or they're ghosts or whatever it is. I mean, an easy way to do it is to make it in the real world.
And something that they've never done, and they could do it really, is just ignore every other Scream movie except the first movie. Why not?
Well, they can't because they brought her brother in. So at least the first three.
But
they also
maybe the first three, yeah.
But they also have that other dude, Jason Jordan's in there. So how does he fit
Oh
in, you know?
God. So maybe they're okay. They're actors in all of the previous 6 movies.
Yeah.
Is he the only guy from those?
I think
he is,
he's
isn't
the
he?
only one that's coming back. Yeah.
Wow.
So I don't know. I think that is a big possibility. I think it's it's thinking a little bit outside the box, which I can kind of appreciate. But
It's a little harder to do though if they're including it. In this world, all 6 of the previous freaking movies, we're going to go through all these characters.
maybe if they're only going to be talking to a specific ones, right? Maybe they're going to try to do some kind of like, I don't know. Maybe they're at a horror hound or something. Like they see each other there as like a reunion, and then
One thing though that we were talking about before, Garrett, that would be great. It would be a cool little spin-off series of like direct to video slashers or direct to streaming slashers. Why don't they actually make the Stab movies?
that's somebody else mentioned that in here where that would be a cool idea, and I agree. I mean, it would be an easy way to restart this franchise, but have it its own thing, right? Like,
Yeah.
it would be very easy to do. They could use Ghostface. They could have a different color mask, whatever it is, but they could use the
Green
character.
mask, I think.
Yeah, but they could literally just do Scream from now until a whole new storyline, a whole new series with new cast, but just call it Stab. And it would be, if they came up with a Scream box set, you could just have that box set, and then there's a whole nother future.
And you could even have them
sense.
set in the 90s as well, in like the late 90s. Like, I think that'd be really cool.
It would be intriguing, 100%. Because at that point, there's all new rules. They can do whatever they want. So, yeah, de-aging could be for sure.
Well, yeah. Usually when you come up with ideas like this and they're actually like halfway decent ideas, they're not going to do any of that.
They'll look all waxy. Still will.
How about this? Scream 7 Purgatory, all the victims versus all the killers in the underworld.
Hell yeah. Let's do it.
That's right. Scream 7
so
Purgatory.
What the hell?
What?
Scream 20.
Scream 20. All right.
So I guess he's just saying that by the time Scream 20 comes, ticket prices will be about $50 to go see it, I'm sure.
Fucking Courtney Cox will be in it as well. She'll look like Skeletor by then, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah. That would not be good.
She'll be a literal skeleton with them bangs.
She'll have perfectly, perfect skin, but everything else, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I know, we're not going to see, I don't think we're going to see Patrick Dempsey.
It's a shame.
It's so funny because, all right, people are giving some props to 2. I thought 2 was good. I'm not the biggest fan of 3. We did do that rewatch with that other cut, remember?
Oh, yeah.
I don't remember what the difference was really.
It was not very good. Like it seemed
horrible.
like they were like the opening scene with Cotton and everything was like 30 minutes longer. Something like that. I'm like, when the hell is this? What's going on here, man?
Wait, is this some kind of like porn ripoff of the new movie? That's going on?
Hard eyes.
Oh no, way, he said hard.
No, that's the movie with Andrew Stevens and Shannon Tweed.
Vinegar Syndrome's going to be releasing Hard Eyes next month, so don't worry about it.
The Hard Eyes series in 4K.
Yeah, so I mean, he said it was pretty good. I haven't really looked at any reviews. I just saw a couple people had messaged me saying it wasn't what they expected, and that's the most I know.
I just love the idea of a killer running around with like a battery pack or something attached to him. I just think that's a hilarious concept.
His eyes are lit
yeah,
up.
got like a LED pack on him somewhere.
You like that?
Yeah,
it's like the heart emoji. That's basically what I think of when I see it.
Yeah. Hopefully it makes a ton of money and there'll be like a bunch of those.
Yeah. I know Chris is a big Scream guy, so let's see. He says, I like the formula. I know what I want a Scream movie, and for the most part, I get it, but I just wish they would get a bit more creative and make it a little bolder choice. I mean, they kind of have to. I really do think if it's like a real lame ending at this point, I think people are going to start falling off with this whole thing because there's only so many times that I think they can have these reveals where it's like so deflating by the end of the movie.
Or maybe they can figure out a way to make it supernatural or something. I don't know.
Maybe they might have to. I actually am more excited for Scary Movie 6 than I am Scream 7.
I'm honestly too. That's no joke. Like I would much rather see what they're going to do with that movie than I know what they're going to do with the Scream movie. They're going to fuck it up.
But like it's almost like people forget about Scary Movie 5. Like those movies were pretty freaking terrible. towards the end.
Well, there's
Which
a
ones?
whole story.
Oh yeah,
behind
but they're
that.
like the reason is because the Wayans brothers got booted off of it. They basically got it stolen from them by the studio, and they got taken off of it. And then the studio went with different creators, and that's why it got so bad. It became very much like Naked Gun type of comedy. And at that point in time, that kind of comedy was like so not what people wanted. And now they've got it, the Wayans got it back. So I think that's why people are excited, is that, you know, they're thinking it's going to be something more like 1 and 2, which I thought were fantastic comedies. But again, I don't know, because I haven't been able to see a comedy in the recent years that I feel like can take those chances that they took back then. And that's where I think it's going to be a little bit off, because it's like that comedy that they did back then was so out there that it's like, it was funny. I don't think they can get away with a lot of that stuff anymore. So I don't know what you do here.
I'm not sure if we're there yet, but I think we're getting there though. Like I see, like in a lot of ways, the tide is turning back around towards that whatever the hell that was, that period of time where everything had to be like a certain way and everything had, you know, I think that's kind of, people kind of got fed up with that stuff now. Like, at least that's what I kind of see.
Like you're saying like comedies are going to start becoming a little bit.
I think you'll see that very soon. Like, I think you'll see a return to that kind of like idea as a kind of backlash to all that shit that happened. Really.
I mean, I don't remember the last. There was, you know, comedy movies now, I don't think they're funny. There was a couple that they kind of made it work. What was the one that was pretty recent? I think it was called No Hard Feelings, maybe. Which with
that
the
was
girl,
the Jennifer Lawrence one. Yeah,
that was pretty good. I thought for
I
a
didn't
movie.
like that one either.
that had a great
There was
scene in it.
one particular scene that was
Oh
amazing.
yeah, 100%.
Jesus.
But I mean, I think that I think that was pretty well done. But you don't get a lot of those anymore. That was actually kind of it. I was shocked that we actually got something like that.
No, I mean that's kind of exactly what I'm talking about. Like that was kind of
It didn't do well though, did it?
no, but
Yeah.
it was like a mild attempt to get back to that kind of format. It didn't go all the way though. It could have gone much further than what it was.
I think eventually it'll get back to that, because people are so sick of like just all this Hollywood bullshit that has been coming out over the last 15, 20 years, you know, like this PC, just, I mean, it's just all the same, man. They remake the same stuff over and over and over and over. I saw today, this summer, there is another Smurfs movie that's coming out, but it's a reboot again. And I think Rihanna is in it or something like
Wait,
that.
you just said what, Smurfs?
Smurfs. Another Smurfs movie.
Wait,
I don't even know how many Smurfs movie there was. I remember there was one.
There were up until just a couple years ago. There was like this series of Smurfs movies, and now
Do you have the box set? Is that why you have it?
I just like they revisit the same crap over and over. Like the Wolfman is the same thing, man. I mean, I know that what was the Benicio del Toro one was like, what, 10 years ago or whatever it was. That was a gigantic piece of shit. Now people are excited again about Universal, and then whoop-de-doo, surprise, it's a piece of shit. Like,
what, Wolfman?
yeah. Well, that's what I hear. I'm never watching it.
I saw it. There was it had potential, but I think my biggest problem with it is that it's called Wolfman, and the wolf that you got looked nothing like what a Wolfman would look like. So I think that that's where it really went wrong, is that it's not even a wolf really. You know, like I'm like, how do you kind of mess
super
that up?
gerbil.
Yeah, like it's weird. And I actually saw the special effects artist who worked on the movie actually posted his original concept and all this stuff, and they actually did some shoots with the original look, and I'm like, dude, that would have been so much better. I don't know why they decided against it and gave us what they got.
I just think at this point they should stop fucking bringing back Universal monster movies. Like, how many of those movies can you do? Like, I don't want to see the Wolfman Frankenstein, Creature from Black Lagoon, like Dracula. I don't like how many more movies can you make about what can you do with any of that at this point?
And the big thing is too is the creature designs are always awful too. Like it's like they don't even try; they just do it on like I don't know a laptop computer or whatever primarily.
like where is any semblance of trying to come up with something new? Like just anything. I don't even give a shit at this point. Like I'll go and see Hard Eyes just because it's like new and not like I mean it's just a stupid slasher movie.
I got tickets to see Monkey next week, and I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, that's Oz Perkins. I'm definitely going to see that. Yeah.
So these are other movies that are kind of they're obviously I think it was based off a short story, but I mean it's still a new movie, it's something different. So I'm excited for that for sure.
Yeah, I mean, and people are like, well, I like
excited for Smurfs with Rihanna in it.
I didn't even know that existed, but not really.
Rihanna is the voice of what's her name? Mrs. Smurf. What's the female's name?
Smurfette.
Smurfette. There you go. You got it.
Oh my god, it's so funny.
Rihanna
you guys are
stars.
People in the comments are going nuts. I'm just trying to scroll through.
Rihanna's Gargamel. What's the cat's name?
Azrael.
Azrael. That's who Rihanna's playing. She's playing fucking Azrael.
They can't have Gargamel or Azrael in it though. It's too dangerous for these kids nowadays.
Is that right? You can't have Gargamel.
Yeah.
That's true. You can't have Gargamel like scooping little Smurfs up. That's going to
making a Smurf stew. These kids wouldn't.
Human trafficking, like Smurf trafficking.
Yeah.
Can't do that now.
Yeah, the Brown Eyes Killer. Brown Eyes. They could do that. Yeah. See.
Brown Eyes.
I wonder if this will have some Creed in it now that Creed's over again. I wonder if if this new movie's gonna have some Creed in there.
Better if they want to make any money with it.
All right, now did you guys see this? I actually liked Megan. I don't know if you guys did, but I thought
we both liked that movie. That's another thing too. Like I know a bunch of people that do not like that movie. And every time I bring it up, they're like, "Oh, that movie sucks and that's stupid." Mark, you're in here. You know who you are,
man.
But that movie. What I don't understand what there was to not like about that movie.
I thought it was different. I mean, it was unique enough. I thought the character was cool. I liked everything about it. So I'm excited for Megan 2. But
the whole AI thing too, and it really, with real doll, it did look like a real doll. That was kind of disturbing. But yeah, with the technology thing and the fact that she was doing TikTok dances and singing and everything. Like I kind of was like, wow, this is genius, man. And Hollywood doesn't do much genius stuff anymore. But I think Megan is definitely a new, icon for modern horror. At least I think she could be.
I mean, that's true. I mean, that's definitely true. And like I don't. Somebody said it was a remake of the Terminator. If anything, it's like a remake of Deadly Friend. Like, but it worked. Like the look worked. The idea worked, the way that they pulled it off with the AI and all that stuff, and like the concept of it worked. Like,
it's better than any Chucky movie in like 30 years.
That's what I'm saying. Like, and people hate stuff like that, but they'll go and see 400 Scream movies and every Chucky movie. It's like that shit is always exactly the same.
Listen, I mean, us three are pretty picky when it comes to movies, especially horror, because we've seen a lot. And again, like, we're talking about Scream and it's like, I don't hate Scream. I just think Scream needs to be over. And I'm like, I haven't been happy with the outcome of some Scream movies over the last couple of years. And I know a lot of people are excited for Scream, but the fact that all three of us are kind of like, yeah, Megan's a good movie, like, is weird that all three of us would agree.
You're right. That is weird, actually, considering who we are.
But... right. But what I did hear, now I haven't seen or read anything on this, but Jackson Jack brought up what I did hear, and I don't know if this is what you meant before, but they said Megan 2 is going to be like Terminator 2, and Megan is now was like a hero, and there's a new bot that she helps.
That's pretty hilarious.
So again, I don't know what I think about that. I mean, I think it's a pretty ballsy move that they want to make her like a babyface character now instead of like this evil doll. which I mean you could easily do because they would just have to program her a certain way, like Terminator did. And I do think it's a pretty interesting concept because I mean think about what they did with Terminator 2 versus the original one and how well that ended up becoming, right? So
she's gonna do the fucking flare face change, and she comes back like halfway through the movie, turns heel on him. Yeah.
So I don't know what we do about this, but I did hear that exact thing is that people said she's supposed to be like a baby face now, and I don't know. Baby face in wrestling terms means a good guy.
That would make sense though, because they want to make that into like a marketable kind of thing for kids. I guarantee it. Like they want that to be, you know, something that kids want to buy and look up to, and they want to turn that into merch. You know, as it is right now. I mean, in the first one, she was a killer, and like you really can't get behind that as a little kid. But if she was the hero, you'd be making a ton of money, which is, I'm sure, what they're looking at.
They introduced another character, and they could promote that as well. They could sell a
Yep.
Azrael doll or whatever the hell the evil doll is in that.
Amelia or something they said, but they're coming out with that damn Megan doll, which I'm curious to see. Did anybody in the chat buy that, by the way?
You better buy this, Garrett, because you got a damn Glenn doll, man.
Yeah.
You think I'm going to buy the Megan doll?
Yes.
A life-size Megan doll. You think I'm going to have that?
If I had to bet on yes, I would say you would buy that.
What?
I don't know, Garrett.
The next day,
you've got a fucking Glenn doll from C to Chucky. Why would I not think you would buy that?
Yeah, but Glenn doll is it's the movie character of the doll. But I'm not saying it for the character purpose. But I'm saying you want me to have a life-size 12-year-old girl doll in this house. That's what you're telling me.
Yes,
because that's what basically.
I mean, I don't want you to have it, but do I think
that's what we're getting here? So that's why I'm curious to see who's buying this thing, because it is a little bit of a weird thing for a 40-year-old dude to buy, don't you think? Regardless of the movie itself, I just think it's a little bit odd.
You know how awesome it would be is if you just came on stream and you had a fucking life-size Megan doll right there, like beside of you. I'm just saying.
Yeah, you need one. That's for sure.
Oh my god! But I don't know if they're sold out, but they were up for pre-order for a while.
How much are those, by the way? I'm just curious.
I think they were like $500.
I think
it was like $500, something like that.
Pulse. Okay.
I mean, you could buy it for your daughter. Maybe she could play with it.
The dead meat guy bought one.
Oh, yeah.
He has a Megan doll?
Yeah.
Try not to say anything.
Hard as I can. Doll. That's what Neck is doing. Everybody that purchases it, you're getting put on a list.
On a list.
Chris Hansen will be visiting you shortly.
Yeah.
Wonder if Rob
it's already out? I didn't think it was even available. It's out. Oh my god! I got to look at some of these unboxings, man. I didn't even know this was it was already out. I knew it was coming out. That's funny.
Oh my god!
Oh my god, that's funny. I really didn't think there was unboxings of this yet. I got to check it out for sure.
But I mean, if you look though, man, we're like in the past year alone, there's been a ton of really solid movies, like horror movies. We don't need these fucking franchise movies at this point. Like I don't really see the need in it. Like,
well, the studios need it. That's the thing.
They need it, but I'm just saying, like, even if Megan 2 sucks, right? There's going to be 20 movies that come along this next year that are probably going to be great, that are going to be independent or almost independent horror film. I mean, that's just what's been happening here in the last couple of years.
2024 was a really good year for horror movies, but there's always going to be the franchises and the go-tos that the studios are going to rely on. Like look at The Strangers from last year.
Or don't. Yeah.
But I mean, it was essentially the same movie. There's really nothing new added to it. And it made a fortune. Like, I mean, it did very, very well. And they're making a couple more. And there's plenty of little franchises like that they can continue with.
No,
But
100%.
the independent studios is really the interesting stuff to check out. And movies like The Substance we talked about, Strange Darling is one that a lot of people mentioned from last year. You know, the word of mouth of those get them, you know, the popularity out there and everything. And hopefully there'll be some more stuff like that for the hardcores. But yeah, I mean, I understand the studios want to make money and they're using the same like Ghostbusters and unfortunately the Goonies is not safe. Gremlins, there's going to be a new Gremlins movie. They're like, oh, we're going to use, you know, practical makeup effects for the Gremlins movies. Who needs another Gremlins movie? Leave it alone, man.
Again, it depends, right? Like I just don't see. I don't know. It's hard. You don't know how stuff like that works now. It's like such to bringing back movies from that time frame into modern is hard because things are so different then. It's like there would be so many new rules. There would be so many different, like Gremlins. Like, I mean, Jesus, you bring out Gremlins in 2025. It's not like a small town is getting attacked by Gremlins and people think you're lying. You're just going to record these things and the whole world knows that things like there's a lot of things to take into consideration, I think, when movies of that time frame try to come back now. And even if Goonies, like, what are they going to do? They're going to have all the old cast in there as like
they can't do Goonies.
That's an
anymore.
impossible movie to be good.
Yeah, because like you look at what Goonies was and like look at a lot of the stuff that the kids said to one another at that time period in the 80s throughout that movie. You can't do anything like that now. Like you would never have a Hollywood movie where kids talk to each other like they do in that movie and have some of the stuff that like happens. Like it just, you can't fat shame people now. Like, you know what I mean?
And
like that, you
Sloth
can't do
would
any of
offend
that
all
stuff.
kinds of people.
Yeah, you can't have
Sloth.
Sloth. Like, yeah, it's just.
But I mean, it's supposed to be a sequel, though, right? Or not a remake, is it?
I think it's. Didn't somebody say it was like their kids or something like that?
That's what I
they're gonna
heard.
That's really the only thing that they could do.
But like, what do you do? Like, that's what I don't understand. Do they go on an adventure? But like, imagine an adventure now versus an adventure back then. What do they do? Call an Uber and then like pay for it?
That's what I'm saying. Like, what?
You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what you do here.
They get on a VR headset, just stand there for an hour. Like, what is?
I am surprised though. Wiley mentioned on here they never tried to do RoboCop versus Terminator. Like that was a comic book that was pretty popular.
Video game as well.
They did a video game for it.
Well, L.A. Jewel, the Goonies movie was already diverse. Like you don't have to diverse it up. Like it was pretty diverse the last one anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But now you're right. Like it would probably be like
like Data wasn't enough. Like,
yeah,
Data wasn't enough diversity.
They couldn't have the Asian kid that was good with inventing shit. That'd be too late.
yeah. He's good at science. You can't
and
do
the
that.
fat kid would have to be eating like vegetables and stuff. He couldn't be eating a candy bar.
No,
right.
The fat kid would be like doing body positivity speeches and shit. You can't do that. Like,
oh my god. Yeah, I'm curious to see how they make this work, to be honest. But I didn't want to stay on here long. I know you guys have some stuff coming out tomorrow. We were talking to, and I think next week we're going to try to film an episode talking about Dimension Extreme. And if you guys remember that DVD line around the 2000s where everything was hardcore, extreme, not even just with movies, even with wrestling, everything was extreme with the X and the Z's and all that fun stuff. And we're going to go through some of those movies and talk about them in that line and how that was a really popular line at the time that Dimension did. And what do you guys have coming up tomorrow, dude?
Yeah, Friday Night Lives tomorrow, right? Uncle Bill, everybody dies, but Friday Night Lives.
Yeah, Friday Night Lives we're going to tier rank 50-some horror movie directors. So not just like the big ones, like all the ones we could think of. We're going to put them in a tier ranking. So you're
going to have Garrett's tier at all or no?
Yeah, well, Garrett's tier.
Join us on there.
Get your ass on there.
Yeah.
If I'm around, I will pop on for sure.
Poopy Avati is even going to be on there, boys.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about like, really obscure kind of people.
And also the physical media fans out there. We did recently have on, you can check that interview out right now. David Gregory from Severin Films came on along with Michael Felcher. And it was a really fun conversation. I was like, pleasantly surprised at how good it was. and lots of insights, everything you ever really wanted to know about some of the controversies over the years. We tried to ask it about. You know?
Yeah.
So there'll be no more Bushwhackers stuff anymore.
We actually introduced him like the Bushwhackers.
I think the very first thing that came out of my mouth, I can't even say on this show, Garrett, to him. So if that gives you any idea,
You
it's
gotta
pretty
go
good.
check it out for sure. But yeah, guys, and a thank you to everybody who checked this out live. I want you to let me know in the comments section, are you excited for Scream 7? Do you want this franchise to just kind of finish up and let's move on from this? Or do you want this thing to keep going? And let me know what you think they're going to do with some of these legacy characters like Stu Macher and all these other people. So, guys, thank you again, Dead Pit, for being here. It's always cool hanging out. And everybody else who checked this out, thank you so much. This is Garrett from Born to Be Rad. And like always, stay rad.
Wait, I was waiting for him to say it. Stay dead.
Stay dead. Stay.